So I want to be a rock star when I grow old. And as I've said before, I don't have the best aspiring rock star resume, which means that imposter syndrome is never very far away. I mean, like every day there's a reason for me to feel like a fake. I do have some things going for me in this project. For example, I know how to write. I've been writing in many different capacities my whole life, from blog posts to memos to computer programming specs. I even wrote a couple books in a previous life under another name, you won't find them. And that translates pretty well to lyrics. I have good instincts for choosing the right word to convey the right emotion in the right context, and I don't have to work too hard to avoid the cliches. I also know how to tell a story, so it's gonna be interesting, mostly, hopefully. I'm not one for vague and abstract lyrics that nobody really understands. I like a story. And even better, I love writing lyrics. I mean, turning over a phrase in my head until you land on that perfect phrase that tells the story in a couple words. It's just, I love it. It's such a thrill. Okay, second, I'm experienced in life. I've been around the block. I know myself. I know how to get things I want out of myself and out of others too. I know what works. I know when to keep pushing and when to pull back. I also have great support. I'm immensely lucky that my husband, I mean, we've been together for 25 years now. He's both a wonderful man and a great musician. It's a perfect combination for me for this project. And so I can rely on him for many things day to day. I mean, he boosts my morale when I'm not feeling it. He tells me I look good when I'm not feeling it. And he composes great guitar parts for my debut single. It's coming soon. And my kids are supportive. I mean, at their age, they're teenagers. I would have been mortified if my mom had started posting videos of herself for everybody to ridicule. And turns out they're my biggest fans. And lastly, I have a pretty good ear. When I hear a melody, I can sing it back really easily. I can transcribe it pretty easily. I'm good at improvising melodies on a given chord. That part comes pretty easy to me. So all that's pretty good, but there's a lot of things that aren't good. First of all, I may have a good ear, but I am not a musician. I dabble in several instruments, but I don't really play any of them. I played piano when I was a child. I know how to read some of the notes. I can hash out a melody, but I can't play both hands at the same time, and I definitely can't play while I'm singing. And I certainly can't interpret something on the piano. I just go at it. Same for the guitar. I've been dabbling in it for a couple years now, and I can string some open chords together pretty well, and I can play bar chords, but I can't change positions fast enough for me to be able to string them together yet. And I definitely can't play while I'm singing. I mean, I've been practicing, but I am quite a long ways off. Also, I don't have any experience on stage. I've only been on stage a couple times, and I'm not an outgoing person in real life. I can make it look like this on a video, that I'm like, woo, outgoing and everything, but in real life, I'm pretty introverted. And my kids, they'll tell you that I can be pretty silly at times, and I do that with people that I know pretty well. But in public, I tend to put a serious facade. And the thing is, to have a good stage presence, you need to be kind of exuberant and funny and exaggerated. I am not those things. If I think about it, I'm pretty sure I can do that, but I'm not sure. I haven't practiced, so it stresses me out, honestly. I have a concert coming up and it's like, ugh. Third, I'm not young. When I was 20, I could pull an all-nighter and go to work still kind of drunk and zero sleep, and I mean, sure, it was hard, but I could pull it off. I could dance for hours. I could sleep on somebody's couch. I could sleep on the floor, you know? I could sit on the floor for as long as I wanted. Hell, I could touch my toes. I can't do any of that right now. I mean, I'm not in the greatest shape that I've ever been. I lack stamina. I have arthritis in my ankle. I have back issues. I need a consistent sleep schedule or I get insomnia. I get a new case of tendinitis every other week. I mean, last time I went to a concert, I got tendinitis because I danced for too long. And sure, I could work on all this. I could get in better shape. I could start running again. I could take dance classes and work on my flexibility. But let's not kid ourselves. I'm never going to be 20 again. I mean, time is not on my side here. So obviously, it's hard to picture myself running around on a stage for 3 hours. Not to mention remembering lyrics. It's so hard at my age. I mean, when I was little, everything just came into my brain. I'd remember it all. Now I'm like, I've been working so hard to not forget my lyrics. These are lyrics that I wrote myself. I'm absolutely terrified that I'm gonna be on stage and not remember what I'm supposed to be singing. I'm somewhat comforted by the fact that since I live in France, my first concerts are going to be in front of a French audience, most of which can't understand English, and if I forget something, and they probably won't notice. But all this definitely feeds my imposter syndrome. It doesn't make me feel like I belong on that stage singing. And fourth, I'm not a rebel. I mean, in real life, I look like any old pudgy middle-aged woman you'd find at a PTA meeting. I don't have any tattoos, I don't have any piercing except the 2 in my ears. I don't have brightly colored hair, I don't have dreadlocks, I don't have a mohawk, I don't have an undercut, I don't wear chains everywhere. In street clothes, I just look normal. I really don't look like a rebel. Which doesn't mean I'm not a rebel inside. I actually am in many ways, but I don't usually show it on the outside. I tend to look understated. You could even say I look boring. I actually feel kind of uncomfortable at the idea that somebody might feel threatened or shocked by my appearance, so I actively avoid it. But what kind of rock star does that make me? I mean, where's the challenge to cultural taboos and social norms? Can you really stick it to the man in a gray twin set? That's a whole other subject that maybe I'll make a video about sometime. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Okay, so how am I dealing with this imposter syndrome? Basically, my motto is fake it till you make it. What I've noticed in almost 50 years of being on this earth is that everybody has imposter syndrome. It's from little kids to the most famous, successful people out there that you'd think they don't have to grapple with this, but they definitely do. I mean, Lady Gaga and Taylor Swift and Michelle Obama, they've all said they have imposter syndrome sometimes. So I've decided I'm just gonna pretend. Sure, that makes me a fake, but who cares? I mean, I figure I'm going to be doing this music thing whether I feel like an imposter or not. I've decided that. So I might as well not feel like an imposter. It's going to be easier if I don't torture myself with this. Which doesn't mean I'm not going to be working on all these issues. I mean, I can't change the fact that I'm almost 50, but I can work on the rest. I can try to memorize these freaking lyrics. I can practice my instruments until I feel comfortable playing and singing at the same time. I can get in better shape. I can just show up. I don't have to feel like an imposter. And also, I can channel all my feelings about imposter syndrome into my lyrics. I'll keep trying.